Today I'm going to show you how to add data to an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to start from your OneDrive. You need to be logged into Office 365 online. We'll be using the online version. And I'm actually clicking on OneDrive and not on Excel right now. Once OneDrive opens, you'll be able to create a new document up at the top, and you're going to choose Excel Workbook. And we want to go to the top, and we don't want it to be called book, we want it to be called virtual road trip. This is where you're going to keep track of your days in your virtual road trip. And as we've learned, you've got cells, you've got rows, and you've got columns. So you're going to be adding the data that you need, and the first thing you're going to do is put your travel days and then the distance, the destination, the starting location and the end location for each of the days. So day 1, you're going to be starting in Bellingham, most of you I should say. If you're doing an international one, you're going to actually use the airport that you would fly into as your starting location. We're only keeping track of the driving distance on this. And in order to show all of whatever you put in that column, you're going to change the widths by using this little tool. You have to be between the letters, or if you want to change the heights of rows, you have to be between the numbers. And actually, I just realized I need to move this data. So when you have a tool that looks like this, you can drag, and it will move your data down to the next row. So over here, I'm going to look for that same tool. There it is. And I'm just going to drag. And that's because I forgot to label my columns. So this is going to be days. This is going to be start location. And I'm going to make this a little wider. This is going to be my end location. And again, I want to make it wider. Up here, I'm going to put miles. So it's going to show how many miles I drove that day. And up here, I'm going to put time. It's going to show how long it took and how long I was in the car that day. So the days on here are just the days that you're actually driving. That's what you're going to keep track of. So on my first day, let's say that I drove to Pendleton, Oregon. I would figure out my miles on your road trip, and hopefully you've already done that when you're starting this by using Google Maps, and then I would also figure out the time it takes. So one thing you want to be sure of is that you're only putting numbers into the miles and time columns. We're going to be adding them up, and if you have letters in there, like if you put 6 hours, it's going to confuse it. So we just want numbers. So do your time, I would say, in half-hour increments. So if it was going to be 6.5 hours, you could put 6.5. And then just putting the numbers, don't write the word miles after your miles. So I'm just guessing on here. Let's say that's what I want. And then you're going to just continue adding your driving days. So this one will now be Pendleton, because I'd be starting my next driving from Pendleton, and then I'll write where I'm going to drive to next on here, the miles and the time. So you're going to have at least 3 locations besides Bellingham. And then your last day your end location should be Bellingham again, or your starting airport if you're flying somewhere, because you're going to be doing a round trip. And that's how you enter data.